I want to suggest to you that you use the following 3 points and aim them directly at whatever goal it is that you try to realize in this lifetime. So it might be a big goal that you're having, or it might just be a smaller goal, but all of it is relative, and everybody has their own idea of what is big and small in reality. For some people, making $1 million is small, for others it's absolutely huge, gigantic. It just depends on where you're at in life and how you've been going about your business in general. But this video will simply remind you of 3 key points that we need to keep in mind if we want to realize goals overall. So people start out in life and then they become aware of something they would like to achieve, but then very quickly we reach a place in which we discover, I've actually no idea how I can achieve my goal, and because you don't know how, doubt starts to set in, and then sooner or later, for most people, they basically give up. They sort of let their dreams and goals go and think it's not realistic, so they settle for something else that is at least easier to achieve. But the reason why it's easier is because they know how to do it. So the problem here that we're facing is figuring how it can be done. Even though at first, when you start thinking about your dreams, you don't worry about it at all. That's kind of the silly part in a way. It's like you start thinking about what you want, but you have no idea how it can be achieved, but it doesn't matter. Although sooner or later you also want to realize it, of course, or at least try to realize it and make your best effort in doing so that you can enjoy, hopefully, at least some part of it, physically speaking. So therefore, this is kind of an interesting point that I wanted to discuss. So the 3 points are: why do you want to achieve it? Do you believe you can achieve it? And if these 2 things are clearly in place, that is when you'll figure out how you can achieve something. So first of all, with people and with you and your goals and dreams in life, you want to ask yourself, why do I want to achieve this goal? What's in it? What's in it for me? Yes, just ask yourself. It's not egotistical, because ultimately the way you spend your life is of extreme importance, because if you're not spending it in a way that is enjoyable to you, then what was the point of living to begin with? So this is where we have to open up our minds and allow ourselves to dream and really consider, okay, this is the dream that I have, but why do I want this? The reason why we ask ourselves this question is because it helps to sort of crystallize this goal into our hearts. It makes it very strong and very intense for us if we understand why we want something and we have good reasons for ourselves. We become infinitely more motivated to actually make it happen. Because without motivation, again, there's no fuel behind your goal, so you won't be doing anything. So I want to give you just one simple example, again, based on how I go about this in my own life. And I always like to turn it back to YouTube in general, because this is where you are most likely listening to my content, unless people have uploaded it on a totally different website, but I highly doubt it. So anyways, when I started this channel back in April of 2019, of course, like everybody else, I saw I had 0 subscribers. Well, then I told a few friends of mine in private that, I make this channel, I'm going to talk about the mind and, share ideas that can hopefully help you guys out if you're interested in hearing something about it. And if not, well, maybe other people out there in the world. So here's the thing. I had no idea how I would reach a bigger audience with my content, but I simply trusted it will work out somehow, some way. You see, this element already of trusting that it will work out, most people already have an issue with that, because they're not used to using their minds in this way of actually achieving their goals to begin with. So trusting that your own consciousness can help you figure it out somehow, some way, comes about through actual experience as well, personal experience. The more you can analyze in your life how you've successfully achieved something based on the consciousness that you were using, like how you were using your mind in that moment of time, the more you'll learn to trust in yourself. So this is very important as well to do for you now that I'm going over this. But for me, I knew if I consistently post videos, it will reach people around the globe sooner or later. Now that's of course the beautiful part about YouTube, is that that's how it goes. YouTube is like a search engine for videos, whereas Google is more for information that you type in and most likely will read on a website somewhere. YouTube is owned by Google, right? So it's a video sharing platform, and it's built in such a way that it will reach people if you start consistently posting videos, unless the video titles and subjects are just so like unique or perhaps uninteresting that it will reach nobody ever other than your friends. I've seen those channels as well that might upload for like a year or longer, and there's never any new subscribers coming to their channel at all. It's like their videos stay at 0 views or 1 view for like a year or longer, and that's kind of sad to see, but okay, I won't judge. Everybody's got to do their own thing, but for me, this is how I went about it. I started my channel, I knew why I wanted it. I knew what it would mean to me, what the purpose would be of this channel. It's just to have a place for people to learn more about the mind. In my own way, I wanted to just talk about it. So, and why would I want to do that? Well, because I know it helped me a lot in life, and therefore I hope it can help others in their life journey as well. So I had a clear idea of why. And you want to do this for your own goals as well. So don't just listen to this, okay? But the next point was belief. Well, this is an interesting one because most people don't believe they can achieve anything. Like they think about their dreams and they have no belief about, I can do this. Yeah, I can do it. I totally believe this. No, it's mostly like, I doubt, I worry. Basically, they're full of unbelief. So how do you actually get to a place of belief? Well, many things have been written about it. One of the things I've learned about through my years of studying metaphysical teachings was this whole idea of repeating a certain thought to yourself, thinking about something over and over again, like for days in a row, and then ultimately, you might develop this belief. And that is actually a true method that can work. But for most people, perhaps they don't have the patience to go through it. So I would say a quicker way to develop belief, if that's what's lacking for you, is to simply look into this world and see which other people out there have achieved something similar that you want to achieve. Because by seeing that others have achieved it, there's two things that could happen. And funny enough, this first point is what happens to most people, is that they see other people succeed with something they would like to achieve as well, and they get jealous, or they feel intimidated by it, like, oh, I could never achieve what they have achieved, or I could never go up against that kind of success. You see, what happens is that people still kind of operate from a place of competition instead of a place of creating and cooperating with others. So if you get rid of it, jealousy, and if you don't look at them as your competition, as in many business practices is usually discussed, like this other company or this individual is doing something similar than me, that's our competition. But I mean, you can do that if you want. I personally don't look at other YouTubers that do videos about the mind and think, oh, that's my competition. Rather, I look at them and like, oh, those are people that have probably a similar audience as I have, and their audience might be interested in what I post as well. You see, so I don't look at it as competition. I rather keep an open mind on perhaps I can find ways on how I can work together with these people, and then their audience might become aware of me as well, and then all of us are winning. Their audience is getting more and more fun and powerful ideas about the mind through us, and likewise we achieve more people, reach more people together as YouTubers in this case. So basically that's how that went for me. I started looking so intensely at other YouTube channels and started to open up my mind. Instead of worrying and being full of unbelief, I opened up my mind and allowed myself to study and listen. Actually listen to what other bigger channels out there are saying. Not all of them have talked about how they achieved their success, but there's enough channels out there that do talk about how they started out and what worked for them, what didn't work for them, how their journey went, and then you start to notice there's a lot you can relate to with most people, even though they might now be very successful and rich. If you can go back into their past and see where they started out, there's usually a lot of similarities between people, and you might realize, whoa, they were in a similar place as me and they made it happen. And therefore, what's stopping me? Well, you realize it's your own belief system is stopping you, and then if that starts to click, you realize I could change that. I want to be like them, or at least I want to achieve similar things like them. You don't obviously want to become a copy of anyone. You want to be your own individual self, but because of the similarity in perhaps career goals, etc., you can at least emulate their mindset on the matter. By doing so, you will learn to change your beliefs around. So you see, instead of looking for people around you currently that have not seen you ever achieve this great dream in your mind, well, they might think, well, you're being unrealistic, or, well, it's probably not going to happen for you, or they just kind of mock you or say, well, good luck, but they don't really believe you can do it anyway. But if you then were able to listen or even talk to people that have achieved something similar as your dream, you're going to probably hear things like, you can totally do it, or, well, not gonna lie, it's gonna be hard work, but if you put in the effort, you will win. You will hear totally different things that will help you actually start believing in yourself and your dream. So that's another piece of the puzzle that I apply towards my own YouTube goals so far. And then, as I said, the third step is that you'll figure out how it can be done. Once you have clearly explained to yourself, why do I want this goal? Why do I want to achieve this? Then you develop belief by studying, analyzing, looking, keeping an open mind concerning your goal. Well, that is the time when you will discover how it can be done. So you see, people skip the first two, why and belief. So they have their dream and they instantly go to how it can be done, and they don't know how, and then they give up. But they didn't ask themselves, why do I want it, and do I actually have the right belief system in order to achieve this dream? Because if it's there, then it will happen. Because what happened for me as well, as I developed this strong why and belief, yes, I figured out how I can be doing my inspirational channel and my inspirational videos. Because at first, believe it or not, years ago, I had no idea how I should actually go about this at all. This was an idea that I've had in my mind for a couple of years, since 2016. That's when it first occurred to me that perhaps making inspirational videos could be fun, but it took me up until 2019 to really, I guess, develop the right belief system in this. So over the years, I knew why I would want it, but again, even I personally didn't have the belief that I could do this, that I could do this kind of content. Like, I had all these weird thoughts in my mind that held me back from doing it. So I shifted that belief system, and then bam, everything fell into place. The content started to appear. Well, not just out of nowhere. Basically, the ideas for inspirational videos started to finally flow within my consciousness, and I was able to act upon them. And then as I did so, well, then slowly but surely, more and more people started showing up on my channel. So I saw we now have over 3,000 subscribers, which is really awesome. But 3 years ago in April, when I started the channel officially, well, it was only a handful of people, really. I mean, I don't really have a large social circle of friends, so it really was only a handful of people. Looked at my videos that I posted, and I remember back then, well, this is going to be interesting, because again, I had no clue on how I'm going to reach people, but I do know I'm passionate about talking about consciousness and the mind, so perhaps I'll someday find people that find it interesting what I have to share about the mind in my own way, and then, we'll see where it goes. And this is how I've been running this channel, well, ever since, even now. I have dreams, big dreams with my channel, where I can honestly say it would be cool to reach 10,000 subscribers, or 100,000, or even more. This is super awesome. But the thing is, I just consider for myself, okay, that is a good goal to have. That's something that keeps me motivated to keep posting on my YouTube channel, to never give up. I might take breaks at times, but I will never give up entirely on this channel. But I'll just let it happen the way it just goes now. Like, here's the thing, once you have the why and belief, and you figure out how something can be done, it's also very important not to become impatient or desperate in that moment. So you're like, whoa, I now know how to do it, and then you might become impatient. You want to have it all overnight. With me, I know how I can reach more and more people. I have some plans for this. I already tested them out, actually, at the end of February and March. Well, we had some channel growth back then as well, because of these new plans that I had discovered in my consciousness that I could use in order to reach more people. So I started to think more a bit like a business, on how can I market myself, stuff like that, basically. And it did work. So I know if I keep repeating that, if I do it often enough, then in theory, I should be able to reach more and more and more people, and then those 10,000 subscribers could be reached. But I also know I have to be patient, because I can't force this. So you see, once you know how you can do something, always remain calm and patient while you're working on it. Because once you become impatient, that's also when you get a little hectic and chaotic in your mind, and perhaps you start to become desperate instead of working from a place of passion, and then all things, get kind of tainted by that energy sooner or later. So with your goals, I hope you will consider this for yourself. Why do you want to achieve it? Do you actually believe that you can achieve it? And if not, why is that? And if it's because you haven't opened up your mind far enough into the direction that will allow you to build that belief, well, then start doing it. And you can start doing it, as I said, by studying and analyzing people that have already succeeded at what you want to realize as well. Or at least if it's similar enough that you can still learn from them. Since in my case, I can learn from pretty much all big YouTubers out there, even if they don't post inspirational content. If it's comedy, gaming channels, I don't care. I mean, I look at all kinds of channels at times and I'm like, that's pretty cool. This person is pretty smart. They really have their mind attached right to them, to their bodies, basically. They think clearly, they know exactly how to go about stuff in a smart manner. That's why they succeed. So I can still learn from them even if they don't make similar content as me, but the similarity being they're content creators just like me. So that's what you want to do for yourself. And then I can promise you, once you have that in place, once the why is strong enough and the belief is burning through your entire consciousness, then as the days go by, you start to get ideas in your mind on how you can actually go about achieving your own goals. And then you want to simply, calmly, but consistently and persistently act upon those inspirations you receive because of you having the belief that you can. You finally learn to believe that you can, because that is ultimately one of the most important things that you'll need in order to succeed in anything in life. Now, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.